जय कुंज विहारी जय राधामाधव जय कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन जय गिरिवरधारी गिरिवरधारी यशोदानन्दन ब्रजगणरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन ब्रजगणरञ्जन जन्मवीरावनचारि जन्मवीरावनचारि जय राधा जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवराधारी गिरिवराधारी यशोदानन्दन ब्रजगणरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन ब्रजगणरञ्जन Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Hare Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Madan Mohan Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Madhava Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Madhava Hare Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Nitai Gauranga Jaya Jaya Jagannath Jagannath Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gora Hari Bol श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री राधा माधव की जय श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा माता की श्री निताई गौरंग की जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय और सभी वैष्णव बंधुओं की जय हरे कृष्णा so I would like to welcome you all for this service to me and Bhagavatam class. Every Saturday and Sunday we are conducting. All glories to our Lilananda Prabhuji and the Shilpa Mataji who are conducting very nicely. And please forgive me whatever I speak. If you don't like something, please correct me. And if I speak something you don't like, please forgive me for that. Actually, I'm not qualified to speak, but I'll take it as a service which is given to me. So I was told to, once again, I will share the screen. Hare Krishna. So I was told to start discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, the creation of fourth order, chapter 28. Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. Yesterday, Subara Prabhuji described chapter 27 nicely. So let's continue our discussion. So first we'll read this text. I'll try to read and you all can repeat without muting in your respective place. Narada Uvacha Sanika Bhaya Namo Ye Bharhishma Dishta Karina Prajavara Kala Kanyabhyam Vicherur Pavani Imam. So we'll read word by word synonym. Narada Uvacha. The great sage Narada continued to speak. Sanika, the soldier. Bhaya Namaha, of Bhaya, fear. Ye, all of them who. Bharishma, O King Prachin Bharishat. Dishta Karinaha, the order carriers of death. Pravarja, Pravachvara, with Pravacha. Kala Kanyabhyam, and with Kala Kanya. Vicheru, traveled. Avanim, on earth. Imam, this. Translation purport by Sivangra Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Translation. The great sage Narada continued, My dear King Prachin Bharishit, afterwards the king of Yavanas, whose name is fear itself, as well as Prajvara, Kalakanya, and his soldiers began to travel all over the world. Perfect. The period of life just prior to death is certainly very dangerous because usually at this time people are attacked by the weakness of old age as well as many kind of disease. The diseases that attack the body are compared here to soldiers. These soldiers are not ordinary soldiers, for they are guided by the king of Yavanas, who act as their commander-in-chief. The word Dishtakarinaha indicates that he is their commander. When a man is young, he does not care for old age, but enjoys sex to the best of his satisfaction, not knowing that at the end of life, his sexual indulgence will bring on various diseases, which so much disturb the body that one will pray for immediate death. The more one enjoys sex during youth, the more he suffers in the old age. Hare Krishna. So let's yes. Let's read the prayers first before starting our discussion. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshur Anmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savdutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीन बंधु जगत पते गोपेशा गोपिता कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirahe Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtuki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Pankajanabhaya Nama Pankajanmaline Nama Pankajanetraya Namaste Pankajangrahe Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurat Vaishe Namaha Namo Brahmanyaya Devaya Guru Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So yesterday, I hope those who attended yesterday's class, they discussed chapter 27, which was about the attack by Chatpanga on the city of Puranjana, the character of Kalakanya. So in continuation, this story of Puranjana, King Puranjana, we'll go to chapter 28, where in first verse, chapter 28, yeah, first verse, travel of the trio. Afterward, yeah. So in this, in the story of Puranjana, again the Narmani continued. Actually, it's describe about a human being in his old age, how he suffers. So this is actually the story, or not of Puranjana, it's actually the story of all of us who are taken, who are accepted this human body, and now trying to live our life. And this is what a general people, common man lives, where in his old age, people are suffered with so much disease, and they pray to Lord to just take their life, and they'll just suffer. And actually, this is the result of our old past misdeeds. So I'll continue to text 2. Once the dangerous soldiers attacked the city of Puranjana with great force, although the city was full of paraphernalia for sense gratification, it was being protected by the old serpent. So here, Prabhupada writes that as one body engages in sense gratification, it becomes weaker and weaker daily. Finally, the vital force becomes so weak that it is herein compared to a weak serpent. The life here has already been compared to the serpent. When the vital force within the body becomes weak, the body itself also becomes weak. At such a time, the death symptom, that is dangerous soldiers of death superintendent, Yamraja, began to attack very severely. According to Vedic system, before coming to such a statement should leave home and take sannyasa to preach the message of God for the duration of life. However, if one sits at home and is severed by his beloved wife and children, he certainly becomes weaker and weaker due to sense gratification. When death finally comes, one leaves the body devoid of spiritual asset. At the present time, even the oldest man in the family does not leave home, being attracted by life, wife, children, money, opulence, dwelling, etc. Thus, at the end of life, one worries about how his wife will be protected and how she will manage the great family responsibilities. In this way, a man usually thinks of wife before death. And according to Bhagavad Gita 8.6, we all know that whatever we remember at the end of life, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyakta ante kalevaram tam tam eveti konteya sada tad bhav bhavita. Whatever state of being one remember when one quits his body, that state he will attain without life. So actually, this in Puranjana's story also we'll see, once he died, he was too much attached to his wife, and next life he take birth as a human body. At the end of life, a person thinks of what he has done throughout his whole life, thus gets another body according to his thoughts and desire at the end of life. One overly addicted to life at home naturally thinks of his beloved wife after end of life. Consequently, in the next life, he gets the body of a woman and he also acquires the results of pious or impious activities. In this chapter, the acceptance of woman body by King Purusharama will be thoroughly explained. Yeah. So this chapter actually properly explained this shloka, how one person, when he leave his body, remembering certain things, and next body, he will get that particular uh, next life he will get particular body. Text number 3. Gradually, Kal Kanya, with the help of dangerous soldiers, attacked all the inhabitants of Puranjana city and thus rendered them useless for all purposes. So all the inhabitants. So this Kal Kanya actually, yeah, this Kal Kanya is actually the daughter of Kala. So there is one big story, how she took birth and what are her services. But here we'll discuss further that actually we all are under the grip of Kala in this world. Nobody can get out of that grip of Kala. So slowly, this time Kala is taking us towards the end of our life, death, and that is for sure for all of us. So actually, it's a very important lessons through this part of Bhagavatam, where we all should understand that although we are engaged in this world, we are engaged in so many worldly affairs, but somehow the Prabhupada explained that we should not get too much deep inside. We should just touch this word and just try to focus mostly on our personal sadhana and our Krishna conscious activities so that we can prepare for our next life. And sometimes people actually get annoyed with devotees. They ask why you are always thinking about next life, why not this life, why not this life? And actually, once there's one good pastime of Prabhupada. Then once somebody challenged Prabhupada, Prabhupada, what happened if after now you are always talking about Krishna, Krishna, what will happen if once you leave the body and you see that there is no Krishna? Somebody challenged Prabhupada like that. And Prabhupada said, even if there is no Krishna, if I take your words, even if there is no Krishna. But what we are doing, we are living this life very happily, simple life, following the four agreed principle, eating, dancing, nice prasad we are eating, we are dancing, and we are just spreading Krishna consciousness. We are talking about Krishna. We are happily living. So there is no problem. At least in this life, we are enjoying the privilege. But now you think if there is Krishna at the end of life, and you see after death that you are not following Krishna consciousness, then what will happen to you? In this life also you are suffering, and after death also you suffer. So this is not the beauty. Now we all are in Krishna consciousness for some time. We can experience that Krishna conscious activities are so blissful, so blissful, so blissful. When coming together with devotees, festivals, and now recently we have a very big yatra. So it was so blissful being with devotees and in carrying out our Krishna conscious activities. But for the people who are not in these activities, life is so horrible. They are not even enjoying this life. Forget about next life. So we are always talking about next life, but actually, when we follow Krishna consciousness, we are actually living the present life also in the best possible way, and we are actually enjoying every moment of this life. In this materialist world, outside materialistic world, we are always promised for a happiness which will come soon. Once you do this, you will get happiness. Once you do this, you will get happiness. But searching for happiness, whole life will go. People will never get happiness outside. But in Krishna consciousness, every moment is a happy moment. When you are serving in Krishna, every moment is a very happy moment. I hope those people who are in Krishna consciousness for some time, quite some time, they know that. That's why we are continuing. And that's why people continue their whole life in Krishna consciousness so happily. So that is the difference. Okay, we'll come back to our story of King Punajna. At the fag end of life, when the inavailability of old age attacks a man, his body becomes useless for all purposes. Therefore, Vedic training dictates that when a man in his boyhood, he should be trained in the process of brahmacharya. Actually, the brahmacharya process is very important because once a person is trained properly in a brahmacharya ashram, then it is easy for him to give up this grahastha ashram, and later during end part of his life he can peacefully stay. Brahmacharya ashram means that person should be actually self-dependent, disciplined. Now we see that person should be able to do his own jobs like washing clothes, cooking, these all things, and he should be not be totally overly dependent on his family members, wife, and all. But nowadays we see that brahmacharya training is totally missing from our society, and that's why people are actually suffering, especially the men. So they are suffering because of the lack of this brahmacharya training. So actually, it's very important that we should try to get this brahmacharya training, train our children, at least we miss that, in brahmacharya, so that it will be easy for them to spend finish their Grasa life and enter in the Vanprastha life, because Vanprastha life is actually missing nowadays in the Varnashram system. So here, yeah, one more thing here Prabhupada explained. Yeah, when a boy becomes young man, when a boy becomes a young man, he marries between the age of 20 and 25. When he is married at the right age, he can immediately beget strong, healthy sons. Now, female descendants are increasing because young men are very weak sexually. A male child will be born if a husband is sexually stronger than the wife, but if the female is stronger, a female child will be born. So this is the point. And Prabhupada saying that the ideal age of marriage is also given. Thus, it is essential to practice the system of brahmacharya if one wishes to beget a male child when one is married. When one reaches the age of 50, he should give up family life. At that time, one's child should be grown up so that the father can leave the family responsibilities to him. So nowadays, people till the age of 40 are also not married. So once they marry at 40, when they will get children and when they will get relief from these family responsibilities. So this is very important. The children should get married at the right age. So this is very, very important. The husband and wife may go abroad to live a retired life and travel to different places of pilgrimage. So this is actually our Vedic culture. Earlier, when there was no means of so much communication, transportation, travel, and all, science technology was not that much. So people actually, once they grow, when their children are grown up, matured, they just hand over all their properties, all their business, everything to them, and they just peacefully go for a yatra, pilgrimage yatra. And during the yatra, they just leave their body peacefully and without disturbing their family. But now that this system has not been there, so we are not expecting to just follow the principle, copy this principle, because time has changed, things have changed. But at least now you see, when there is one devotee, Anand Vrindavan Prabhuji in Bombay, he's actually training everybody to just stick to holy name, because but he's telling that uh, when we go in the old age, it's very difficult to do different services. Now we are in our Krishna conscious, we are trying to do different services. Somebody is building temples, somebody is preparing food, somebody is preparing classes, somebody is doing this, that, running. So we are doing different services. But Anandana Prabhu says that it's very important that we should focus on Harinam, because Harinam is the only service which we can do in old age. Otherwise, other services our body will not allow us to do. So it's very important. And actually, he's conducting japa sessions. Few of us are joining also every day morning. So I request that we all devotees should actually focus more on Harinam, so that once we go old, and because Harinam is the essence of our movement also, and once we go old, when our senses or our body parts stop working properly, then we can just sit peacefully and chant, if we have practiced that in our present life. But if we have not practiced that now, then it will not be possible to just sit and chant. It's very, very difficult. And our body will not allow us to do other services that time. So this is very important. Then this is how he told that present situation we can use up this Varnashrama system. Ideally, in that stage of life, the people should retire and they go to different dham and just left body going on pilgrimage tour like that. The remembering on dot. So traveling to different pilgrimage process places is also one part of the bhakti. So this is perfect system of civilization. The human form of life is specially meant for God realization. So this is a very important statement. The human form of life is specially meant for God realization. So nowadays people don't know why we have taken birth as human. They're just simply living, and living like a money earning machine. So we are not just born to just become a money earning machines. Yeah. Translation. Text number 4. When Kalakanya, daughter of time, attacked the body, the dangerous soldier of the king of Yavanas entered the city through different gates. Then they began to give severe trouble to all the citizens. Actually, this Yavana city, king of Yavana, and all these things actually compared to our body, and different gates are the 9 gates of our body, which are explained by Prabhupada. Body has 9 gates. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, mouth, rectum, and genitals. When one is harassed by the inevitable inevitability of old age, various disease manifests at the gates of the body. For example, the eyes become so dim that one requires spectacles, and the ears become too weak to hear directly, and therefore one requires hearing aids. The nostrils are blocked by mucus, and one has to always sniff a medicinal bottle containing ammonia. Similarly, the mouth, too weak to chew, requires false teeth. The rectum also gives one trouble, and the evacuation process becomes difficult. Sometimes one has to take enemas and sometimes use a surgical nozzles to restrict the passing of urine. In this way, the city of Purjana was attacked by various gates by the soldiers. I think those who are in 50s and 60s, they can easily correlate. But for other people who are not yet that age, but this is what we all will experience one day. So we should be very ready for that. And we should be totally immersed in Harinam, and Prabhupada clearly says the purpose of human life is self-realization. So that is our purpose. And we should, this is actually warning for Prabhupada, for all of us, for me especially, that we should be more focused in our sadhana, we should be more focused in our bhakti process, and especially Shravanam, Kirtanam, which are the basic. And slowly, because we are creeping towards this part of our life. When the city was thus endangered by the soldiers, and Kalakanya King Puranjana became overly absorbed in affection for his family, was placed in the difficulty by the attack of Yavan Raja and Kalakanya. So Yavan Raja is Yamaraja and Kalakanya is the time. So everybody, people actually nowadays, they are not even aware that there is some process that at the end of life the soul will be taken by Yamaraj and it will be punished in a certain way as per the reactions. People are not aware. They think that this is the only life, we should enjoy this life, and we should, and even they are not able to enjoy this life. People are thinking that enjoying the senses is the way we can enjoy this life, but actually it will not give happiness. And we see that one example in Bhagavatam only. Yati Maharaj, actually when he grew old, he take the youth from his son, and he enjoyed the youth for a very long time. But at the end he told that even you can enjoy the senses for a long time, it will, there's no end to that. It's like a itching process. Once you have a itching in your body and you just start itching, what will happen? It will lead to more itching. It will lead to more itching. So there is no end to that. So the thing is, for senses, Prabhupada very clearly said we have to engage our senses in the service of Krishna. That is the only way where you can actually get relief of this sense enjoyment problems. Yeah, as well as mind. The old age, yeah. Here Prabhupada tells that we have the various limbs as well as mind, intelligence, and ego. In the old age, all become weak when they're attacked by different diseases. The proprietor of the body, living soul, become very sad at the being able to use the field of activities, not being able to use the field of activity properly. Yeah. So Bhagavad Gita also talks about Kshetra and Kshetrajana. That living entity is the proprietor of the body, Kshetrajana, and the body is the field of activities, Kshetra. When a field is overgrown with thorns and weeds, it becomes very difficult to owner to work with. That is a position of the spirit soul when the body itself becomes a burden due to disease. Extra burdens are placed on the body in the form of anxiety and general deterioration of the body function. So this example of thorn and weeds, maybe some people it's very difficult who are not like me, who are born in city life, who have never seen fields and farm. So we can compare that in your kitchen if you go and the things are not properly ordered and you see a lot of nonsense. So it's very difficult to work there. So first thing is we should get the thing city kitchen clean. So similarly the body, if the body organs are diseased, it's very difficult to use the body. And most of us experience that when we get sick, then it's very difficult to do our basic things. And in old age, you just understand it will become a catastrophic. Different parts of body stop working altogether. Right. So when next check number 6, when King Puranjana was embraced by Kalakanya, he gradually lost all his beauty. Having been too much addicted to sex, he became very poor in intelligence and lost all his opulence. Being bereft of all possessions, he was conquered forcibly by Gandharvas and the Yavanas. Yeah. So Prabhupada right here, when a person is attacked by inavailability of old age and is still addicted to sense gratification, he gradually loses all his personal beauty, intelligence, and good possessions. He thus cannot resist the forceful attack of the daughter of time. Actually, there is one very nice pastime about Akbar people. So Akbar actually asked people that when in old age, people should not be having these desires of sense enjoyment. The people say no. Till the end of life, these desires for enjoyment, sense enjoyment are always there. Then Akbar say, I can't believe it. Then Birbal told, okay, tomorrow we'll go and meet one old person who is almost on the deathbed. But I request you to come along with your daughter. So Akbar got a very beautiful daughter. So three of them, Akbar, Birbal, and Akbar daughter, they all three went to meet the old person who was almost on the deathbed. And when Akbar, who was the emperor that time, he went in the room of that old person. Then he saw that the old person, instead of greeting the emperor or seeing towards the emperor or respecting the emperor, he was actually watching the beautiful girl who came along with Akbar, the Akbar daughter. So then Birbal told, now you see this person is on the deathbed and he still, his eyes are there on the beauty, external beauty of girl. So it's very, very difficult that even at the old age, it's very difficult that this sense enjoyment propensity will go. So for that, that's why our national system is there. Then from the very beginning of life, you have to practice that. And that's but nowadays you see this in the name of co-education and pre-mixing of different gender. Actually, the things are getting worse and worse day by day. So it's very, very difficult that Krishna consciousness is the urgent necessity, and we should train our next generation very nicely. And first, for that, we should get ourselves trained properly. Next, King Puranjana then saw that everything in his town was scattered, and that his sons, grandsons, servants, and ministers were all gradually opposing him. He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent. So this is what in old age you all will experience. And those who are there, they might be experiencing. And some of are actually experiencing young age also nowadays because of the time, Kali Yuga time. So when one become invalid, his sense and organs become are weakened. In other words, they are no longer under one's control. Sense and objects are being opposed to him. So this is very nice example. Prabhupada say that in old age, yeah, there's one important thing here, Kripana. Prabhupada used the word Kripana. So Kripana miser, or Hindi mein we can say the word Kanjus. So who is Kanjus? Kanjus is a person who is having something, is not using that properly. So we all have this human body, and the people who are not using this body to understand self-realization, they are actually Kripana. This is the meaning here. So once you have a human body, it should be used in self-realization. That's all. If you are not using your human body in self-realization, you are actually Kripana, confused. This is what this Kripana words used many times by Prabhupada. A miser is one who gets money but does not spend it properly. The human form of life is specially meant for understanding Brahman, becoming a Brahman. And if we do not utilize it properly, we remain a Kripana. Yeah. So this is Kripana. And Kripana people are never happy. Similarly, when one's intelligence is spoiled due to sense gratification, he remains miser throughout his life. So this is one thing. So if you don't want to become confused, then we should use our human body properly in self-realization. Text number 8, anxiety. Translation. When King Puranjana saw that all his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else has turned against him, he suddenly became very anxious. But he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by Kalakanya. Yeah. When a person becomes weak from the attack of old age, the family members, servants, and secretaries do not care for him. He is then unable to counteract this. Thus, he becomes more and more anxious and lament his frightful condition. Actually, uh, if I correlate myself, I'll tell you one from example from my life that how I get attracted to Krishna consciousness. So first time I visited ISKCON temple in KL, Malaysia. There I saw. Then I could not understand much of the things going on there. But one thing I saw that one old man is there who is actually without family. He was alone. But in whole temple, he was very nicely respected. He was nicely being taken care. He was on a wheelchair, and some devotees will come, they will take him for prasad, some devotees will take him to washroom, and everybody was telling Prabhuji, Prabhuji, how can I serve you? Everybody wanted to serve him, and he was also very happy among the devotees, and devotees were also happy serving him. So this is the one thing which attracted me during the initial stage of my Krishna, that when I become old, I should become like this. Because I have seen in India, people nowadays don't respect old men in their home, and nobody likes the old person in their family. So this is one thing which attracted me, and I hope I have seen that in Krishna consciousness. This very nice family Prabhupada is given, where we all people try to respect, and it should come naturally, and we should do like that. So this is one thing which attracted me, and yeah, text next. The object of enjoyment becomes stale by the influence of Kalakanya. Due to the continuance of his lusty desires, King Puranjana became very poor in everything. Thus, he did not understand the aim of life. He was still very affectionate towards his wife and children, and he worried about maintaining them. So, this is the thing. Actually, yeah, this is the situation of every human being on the planet right now, most of us. This is exactly the position of present civilization. Everyone is engaged in maintaining the body, home, and family. Consequently, everyone becomes confused at the end of life, not knowing what spiritual life and goal of human life are. In the civilization of sense gratification, there cannot be spiritual life because a person thinks only of this life. Although the next life is a fact, no information is given about it. So this is the situation of present civilization. In the name of modernization, we have actually missed the basic of life, that we are not the body, we are a spirit soul. And our life is not just limited to this present life, it's much more than that. And we are not just the money making machines, we are much more than that. The city of King Puranjana was overcome by the Gandharva and Yavana soldiers. And although the king has no desire to leave the city, he was circumstantially forced to do so, for it was smashed by Kal Kanya. So time will smash everything. Yeah. The living entities separate from the associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead try to enjoy this material world. He is given a chance to enjoy it in a particular type of body, beginning with the body of a Brahma down to the that of the microwave. So that's why our acharyas are very merciful. They are asking us to just wake up, and just understand that this is not what we are. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur given a very nice song, Jeev Jago, Bharat Chandra Bole, Kota Nitra Gaya Maya, Haripar Chole. So this is what our acharyas are mercifully try to come and engage and wake up us from this nonsense what we are going us. And we should be very, very thankful to our acharyas, our gurus, Prabhupada, and our present gurus, Parampara, everybody. So because of their mercy, we are sitting here, we are getting a chance to listen to Bhagavatam, a chance to read Bhagavatam. Here, one very nice example, Prabhupada said that every living entity, according to karma, his past desire and activities, get a particular type of body, from that of Brahma to that of a microbe or germ in the stool. Due to long association with particular type of material body, and also due to the grace of Kalkana and Maya, one become overly attached to a material body, although it is the abode of pain. So there is one pastime of Indra. Indra got some curse and he has to accept a pig body. And once the time of curse is finished, then different demigods come and told Indra, okay, Indra, your time of curse has finished. Now you come and take your position as Indra, because there is nobody to lead our Swarga. Then Indra told, no, no, no. I am in pig body and I have pig family. I have wife, children, everybody. So I have to just take care of them. I cannot go now. So this is the attachment. Once we get some body, we this is how we get attached to that body, to the things, me and mine. So me and my expansions, like that. So it's very, very difficult to just get rid of that attachment. It's a long purport. And yeah, here about devotees. This is our target. The saintly devotees are always free and liberated, whereas the karmis who have no knowledge of spiritual life or the transcendental loving service of the Lord are very much afraid to give up the rotten material body. So this is a very, very good thing. The people who are in Krishna consciousness, for them there is no fear of leaving the body. Actually, there one past time, Prabhupada disciple, he was in some country, I forgot the name, but that country was in the war area. So there was war in a border and very difficult to cross the border. But this devotee wanted to go to temple, and the temple was on the other side of border. So for going to temple, he has to cross the border. So while he was crossing the border, he was getting caught. He got caught by the army person on the border, and they just put a gun on his kanpatti like that, and they told, "I am once I fire the gun, you will die." And this devotee told, maybe you can kill my body, but you cannot kill me. So this army person never heard. such a courage, because mostly the people will start crying once they see the gun like that. But this army person said, why can't I kill you? I just shot the gun and you will be die. Yeah, you can kill my body, but you cannot kill me. And this army person never heard such thing. What do you mean by I cannot kill you? I can kill you. No, you cannot kill you. You cannot kill my body. You can only kill my body. You cannot kill me who I am and spirit soul. What is that theory? Tell, explain me. Then they both sit together and this person gave whole SSR session on the border to the army person. Later, both of them become devotee and both of them went to the temple together. So this is how the mercy of Prabhupada and his books, his teaching. So this philosophy is very, very attractive to everyone, because everyone is. So in the forward of our Krishna book, the what is name? It's written that everybody is looking for Krishna, but some people knows that, some people don't know that, but everybody is actually searching for Krishna. Yeah. Under the circumstances, the elder brother of Yavana Raja, known as Pravarja, Prajava, set fire to the city to please his younger brother, whose other name is fear itself. So we understand that fire means that the body is finished. Yeah. According to the Vedic system, a dead body is set on fire. But because before death, there is another fire or fever, which is called Pravarja or Vishnu Jvara. Medical science verifies that when one's temperature is raised at 107 degrees, a man immediately dies. This Pravarja or high fever at the last stage of life places the living entity in the midst of the blazing fire. So this is the way of fire. Next, when the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all the family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. King Purashana thus became very unhappy. Yeah. So there are many parts of the body: the senses, the limb, the skin, the muscles, blood, marrow, etc. And all these are considered here figurative as sons, grandsons, citizens, and dependents. When the body is attacked by the Vishnu Jwara, the fiery condition becomes so acute that sometimes one remains in coma. This means that the body is in such a severe pain that one becomes unconscious and cannot feel the miseries taking place within the body. Indeed, the living entity becomes so helpless at the time of death that although unwilling, he is forced to give up the body and enter another. Yeah. So this is the transmigration of the body. Yeah. By scientific advancement, improve the temporary living condition, but that cannot avoid the pangs of birth, old age, disease, and death. So there are many instances in our history where people spend a lot of money, a lot of advancement, they just try to solve this problem of birth, old age, disease, and death. But till now, nobody has succeeded. And as per scripture, nobody will succeed because this is beyond our control. And with scientific advancement, we cannot succeed. Yeah. Now people are very busy trying to find petroleum in the midst of the ocean. They are very anxious to make provisions for future petroleum supply, but they do not make any attempts to ameliorate the condition of birth, old age, disease, and death. Thus, a person in ignorance, not knowing anything about his own future life, is certainly defeated in all his activities. So this is a very important thing, that we should not worry about petrol and other things, but we should worry about our own self, that our body is going to end soon and we are going to live and accept next body. So this is the main thing, self-realization. The city superintendent of police, the serpent, saw that the citizens were being attacked by Kalakanya, and he became very aggrieved to see his own residence set ablaze after being attacked by the Yavanas. Yeah, the living entity is covered by two different types of bodies, the gross body and subtle body. At death, we see that the gross body is finished, but actually the living body is carried by the subtle body to another gross body. The so-called scientists of the modern age cannot see how the subtle body is working in the carrying the soul from one body to another. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita says, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu Kham Buddhi Mana Evacha. So these are the eight matters, five gross matter and three subtle matters. So this is what our body is made up of. And once the death, the gross matter will finish and subtle matter will remain. Subtle matter are mind, body, and false ego. Mind, intelligence, and false ego. So they will take the body, the soul to another body. And this is the way we can understand that some people have past life memories and all because of the subtle body. They carries the thing, it said that it will carry like a aroma when we light a agarbatti or something, perfume. So the aroma travels in the air like that. The subtle body travels from one point cross body to another. Next translation. As a serpent living within the cavity of the tree wishes to leave when there is forest fire, so the city police superintendent, the snake, wishes to leave the city due to the fire severe heat. If one become it become very difficult for snakes to leave a forest when there is a fire. Another animals may flee due to their long legs, but serpents, only being able to crawl, are generally burned in fire. At the last stage, the limbs of the body are not as much affected as the lives here. So it is how compare the body, the snakes, the life here. It is the analogy given here. Next, the limbs of the serpent's body were slackened by the Gandharvas and Yavana soldiers, who had thoroughly defeated his bodily strength. When he attempted to leave the body, he was checked by his enemies. Being thus baffled in this attempt, he began to cry loudly. At the last stage of life, the different gates of the body are choked by the effect of diseases which are caused by an imbalance of bile, mucus, and air. Thus, the living entity cannot clearly express his difficulty, and surrounding relatives hear the sound gur gur from a dying man. In the Mukundamala Sutta, King Kulukshetra says nicely, Krishna Tvaya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Advaita me Visatu Manasa Rajahamsha Prana Pranaya Samaye Kapaha Vatapita Sattharva Rodhan Vidha Samadhu Kataste. To Shekha prayers, very nicely given there. What will happen at the end of life? That the voice will choke, the cough, mucus, everything will take up, and it's very difficult to chant. So yeah, thus one may forget Krishna. Of course, those who are strong in Krishna cannot possibly forget Krishna at any stage because they are accustomed to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, especially when there is signal from death. And there is one more promise in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, even if somebody fails in his Krishna conscious process, then at least he will give him a next chance to continue his Krishna consciousness. So that is one good option for devotees. So at some or other, we should practice our Krishna consciousness nicely. So even if we fail, so we don't have to lament, but Krishna will take care of that. So once we come in the Krishna's team, then it's Krishna's responsibility. So we just have to keep ourselves in this team. That is very, very important. So next word. King Puranjan. Ishu. Please. Next. King Puranjana then began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, servants, and other associates, as well as his household paraphernalia, and his little accumulation of wealth. Hare Krishna. King Puranjana then began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughter-in-laws, son-in-law, servants, and other associates, as well as his household paraphernalia, and his little accumulation of wealth. Purport. It is not infrequent for a person overly attached to the material body to request a physician to prolong his life at least for some time. If the so-called scientific physician is able to prolong one's life for a few minutes through the use of oxygen or other medicines, he thinks that he is very successful in his attempts, although ultimately the patient will die. This is called the struggle of existence. At the time of death, both patient and physician still think of prolonging life, although all the constituents of the body are practically dead and gone. So this is very important that even after so much advancement, it's impossible for anybody to just give 1 minute extra. You can't just, any doctor can't claim that I will give you few minutes, few days, few hours, few minutes, even few seconds extra. No, nobody can claim that. So what is the use of so much advancement? So nobody can claim that. Text 17. Translation. King Puranjana was overly attached to his family and conceptions of I and mine, main or mera. Because he was overly attached to his wife, he was already quite poverty stricken. At the time of separation, he became very sorry. Purport. It is clear in this verse that at the time of death, thoughts of material enjoyment do not go away. This indicates that the living entity, the soul, is carried by the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. Due to false ego, the living entity still wants to enjoy the material world, and for want of material enjoyment, he becomes sorry or sad. He still makes intellectual plans to further his existence, and therefore, although he gives up the gross body, he is carried by the subtle body to another gross body. So even after death, our thoughts, our memories, our desires, they will continue even next body. That's how it's there. So it's not finishing at this body with the end of this body. The transmigration of subtle body is never visible to materialize. Therefore, when one gives up the gross body, we think that he's finished. Plans for material enjoyment made by the subtle body and the gross body is the instrument for enjoying these plans. Thus, the gross body can be compared to a wife. For his wife is the agents of all kinds of sense gratification. Because of long association with the gross body, the living entity becomes very sad to be separated from it. Material activities. Yeah, actually, once a few days ago, somebody was telling that husband and wife till 20, 30 years, they don't know who are each other. But suddenly then they get married and for next 40, 50 years, they stay together. And then again separate. And then so high will become attachment. So if we see this process, the purpose the husband and wife come together is actually to separation. Because still 20, 30 years of their life, they don't know each other. And then they got married, then they stay together for some 40, 50 years, maybe 60 years. And then they get die and they separate permanently. So why actually they come together? What is the purpose? The purpose is actually to come together and serve Krishna so that they should help each other. Text 18, translation. King Puranjana was anxiously thinking, alas, my wife is encumbered so by so many children. When I pass from this body, how will she be able to maintain all these family members? Alas, she will be greatly harassed by thought of family maintenance. Now you see, this King Puranjana, he got so many children, so many sons, but still, out of his attachment to his wife and family, he was thinking that once I go, how my wife will get maintained. He should be happy that so many sons are there, one or two sons will take care of my wife. But he will not think like that. All these thoughts of one's wife indicates that king was overly engrossed with thoughts of women. Generally, the chaste women become very obedient wife. This causes a husband to become attached to his wife, and consequently, he thinks of his wife very much at the time of death. This is very dangerous situation, as it is evident from the life of King Puranjana. If one thinks of his wife instead of Krishna at the time of death, he will certainly not return home back to Godhead, but will be forced to accept the body of a woman and thus begin another chapter of material existence. So actually, if you see the life of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada got married to his wife, his name is, I think, Prabhupada's wife, what's her name? Anybody remembers? Radharani, yeah, Radharani Devi. So actually, he was not very happy with his marriage at that time, and he actually planned to get married again. And later, his father came to know about his plan, and he actually saw one girl, and he was told his father. Some other his father came to know, and his father told Prabhupada that actually it's very good you are not happy with your wife because it will be easy for you to leave her at the end of your life. So you'll not get too much attached. So this is the vision of a devotee because Prabhupada's father was also a great devotee. So once wife is very favorable, it's vice versa, wife or husband is very favorable, then we should be very happy that it's favorable and we should practice our Krishna consciousness together very nicely. And if it's other way around, then we are not, then we should be very happy that we are not getting too much attached. It's very easy to say bye bye at the end of life and just practice our own sadhana and just go ahead. So it's both way, win-win situation for a devotee. So for a devotee, every situation is the best situation. So that is a beautiful beauty of our devotional life. So any situation is the best situation. You just because devotee know how to, because for devotee the only goal is to please Guru and Krishna, and he know how to please Guru and Krishna in that particular situation. So it's very easy For devotee, there is no situation called which is called not a good situation. It's always the best situation. So King Puranjana, like we see the example of Pandavas, they are always going so much trouble. For outside people, if they see, they have to go undergo so much trouble, but inside they were peaceful. We see the life of Kunti Maharani. She was happy when troubles were there. And once actually Mahabharata finished, then she started saying, Krishna, why you are leaving now? You just stay some more time. No, everything finished. Then give more trouble and stay with us. This is the mood of devotee. They won't just be with Krishna and stay and be happy always. So they don't think any about external troubles. Next, King Puranjana then began to think of his past dealings with his wife. He recalled that his wife would not take her dinner until he had finished his, that she would not take her bath until he had finished his, and that she was always very much attached to him, so much so that if he would sometimes become angry and chastise her, she would simply remain silent and tolerant his misbehavior. Actually, this is the culture which I have seen after coming to South India in certain South Indian families. I've seen there are people, the wives, they are following this culture. They are so chaste, so much attached to the husband, so much that they are following this thing, not taking dinner until he had finished. She would not take bath until he had finished, and that she was always very much attached to him. But actually, no, not side. I have not seen this culture generally, but yeah, it's there in South India, still preserved. So it's a very nice culture where wife is very chaste and just follow the husband very nicely, sincerely. So it's actually a very good culture. Let's see what Prabhupada is saying. A wife is always supposed to be submissive to her husband. Submission, mind, behavior, and subservience are qualities in a wife which make husband very thoughtful of her. For family life, it is very good for a husband to be attached to wife, but it is not very good for spiritual advancement. Thus, Krishna consciousness must be established in every home. If a husband and wife are very much attached to one another in Krishna consciousness, then they will both benefit because Krishna is the center of their existence. Otherwise, if a husband is too much attached to his wife, he becomes a woman in his next life. The woman, being overly attached to her husband, become a man in her next life. Of course, it is advantage for a woman to become a man, but it is not at all advantage for a man to become a woman. So this is the point that together, husband and wife should come and Krishna should become the center of all their activities and they all should get attached to Krishna. This is very nice. Next. King Puranjana continued thinking how, when he was in a state of bewilderment, his wife would give him good counsel and how she would become agreed when he was away from home. Although she was the mother of so many sons and heroes, the king still feared that she would not be able to maintain the responsibility of household affairs. See, this is a bit, we have seen the, I hope you all are aware of the story of Kailash. Kailash story. If you have not seen, there is a very beautiful drama in RG Media. You can just go to YouTube and RG Media and see the drama of Kailash. It's very, very beautiful. It's actually a story of all of us. At the time of death, King Puranjana was thinking of his wife, and this is called polluted consciousness, as explained by Lord Krishna. Amevam sham jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana manashastrani indriyani praktisthani karshati. The living entities in the conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to the conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which includes the mind. So this is the condition of all of us. Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. And it's long purport. You can read. Yeah. Here one more verse Prabhupada gave. Shariram yad avapnoti yat chapi utta karmasha grahavit grahita nadni samayati vayurganatha ivashatyat. The living entity in the material world carries the different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries aroma. So this is how the living entities keep changing his body from one body to another. This is how it's going on. In if the wind passes over the garden of roses, it will carry the aroma of rose. And if it passes over a filthy place, it will carry the snatch of the obnoxious things. Similarly, King Krishna, the living entity, now passes the air of his life over his wife, a woman. Therefore, he has to accept the body of a woman in his next life. Text 21. Translation. King Puranjana continued worrying. After I pass from this world, how will my sons and daughters, who are now fully dependent on me, live and continue their lives? Their position will be similar to that of passenger aboard the shipwreck in the midst of ocean. This is how King was thinking at the time of death. How my wife and children they will survive. So he was still thinking of that. So Prabhupada explained that politician also worried about his country, ideal politician, not nowadays politicians, and like that. So the science of transmigration is completely unknown to modern scientists. So-called scientists do not like to bother with these things because if they would at all consider this subtle subject matter and the problems of life, they would see that their future is very dark. Thus, they try to avoid considering the future and continue committing all kind of sinful activities in the name of social, political, and national necessities. So actually, this idea of that we are not the body, we are just this life, this life. Actually, it's making people more sinful because people are thinking whatever we have to do now and just go finish with it. Life is finished, everything finished. But it's making people more and more towards sinful activities. So it's very important we should propagate the ideal theory, ideal process. So every word, every verse is actually telling us that Krishna consciousness is the urgent need for me, for you, for everybody. So it's very important. We should take the process very, very seriously. And it's so, like, we are so fortunate that we are born in an era where Krishna consciousness started just 50 years ago. And now it's in very mature state. We have so much temples, so much things. Just imagine we are born before Prabhupada era. It would be very, very difficult for us to know about Krishna. And we now it's very easy. We have temples everywhere, we have devotees everywhere. We just have to go there. If we just go and attend morning program every day, just morning program from Mangal Aarti, then Tulsi Aarti, Narsing Aarti, chanting, then Bhagavatam, then Prasad. Our major portion of the Krishna conscious activities are finished. Then we can full day we can do whatever activities. So it's very, very easy. Very, very easy now. And even if we are not taking the advantage, then I don't know how much more misfortune we can do with our life after this. Although King Puranjana should not have lamented over the fate of his wife and children, he nonetheless did so due to his miserly intelligence. In the meantime, Yavana Raja, whose name was Fear itself, immediately drew near to arrest him. Yeah. So this is what to explain the process of death, how Yavana Raja came. Yeah, everyone is afraid of death, and therefore death is called Bhaya or fear. Although King Puranjana was engaged in thinking of his wife and children, death did not wait for him. Death does not wait for any man. It will immediately carry out his duty since death must take away the living entity without hesitation. It is the ultimate God realization of the atheist. Yeah. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, for atheists, I will come as a death. Unfortunately, in the present day society, so-called educated men have no idea what spiritual progress is. Although they have the opportunity in human form of life to make spiritual progress, they remain misers. They use their living life improperly and simply waste them thinking about the material welfares of their relatives, countrymen, society, and so on. One's actual duty is to learn how to conquer death. So recently, when video came of Amarendra Prabhu, where he was telling that we should not even waste a single moment in our life. He has given this human body, should not waste. We should do the needful, but full time we should be totally in Krishna consciousness. So, to be totally in Krishna consciousness activity. So here Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tatvata tattva deham punarjanma neti mam eti. So Arjuna, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Yeah. Text 23. So actually I'm taking it fast because it's a very, very long chapter. When the Yavanas were taking King Puranjana away to their place, binding him like an animal, the king followers became greatly aggrieved. While they lamented, they were forced to go along with him. When a Yamaraja and his assistant take a living entity away to the place of judgment, the life here that and desires, being followers of the living entity, also go along with him. This is confirmed in the Vedas. When the living entity and the life air are gone, the lump of matter produced of five elements, earth, water, air, fire, ether, is rejected and left behind. The living entity then goes to the court of judgment and Yamraja decides what kind of body he is going to get next. This process is unknown to modern scientists. Every living entity is responsible for his activities in this life, and after death he is taken to the court of Yamraja, where it is decided what kind of body will be taken next. Although the gross mental body is left, the living entity and its desires, as well as the resultant reactions of his past activities, go on. It is Yamraja who decides what kind of body one get next in accordance with one's past actions. So actually, next canto is once this canto is going to finish soon. So next canto 5, this whole description of Narkloka. It's very horrible. So hopefully we'll read again. Slowly we are going there. So the serpent who had already been arrested by the soldiers of Yavanaraja and was out of the city began to follow his master along with the others. As soon as they all left the city, it was immediately dismantled and smashed off dust. Yeah, smashed to dust. So when the living entity is arrested, all his followers, namely the life air, the sense object, immediately leave the lump of matter in the body. When the living entity and companions leave, the body no longer works but turn into basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. When the city attacked by enemies is vacated by his eminence, the enemy immediately take advantage of that city and bombard it to smash the whole thing to dust. When we say dust through art and unto dust through shall return, we shall refer to body. When a city is attacked by bombarded by enemies, the citizens generally leave and the city ceases to exist. So this is the situation of all of us. Yeah. Again, it's a long purport. You can read. It's actually very interesting to read. Actually, I'm very thankful to all devotees for this service because at least because of this service, I'm reading. And nowadays, Sri Prabhu and we are reading Bhagavatam regularly together. So it's very enjoyable reading Bhagavatam. So those who are not reading Bhagavatam regularly, I sincerely request them that they can talk to Santosh Aditya Prabhu. He is actually one of the best reader in our group. So they can talk to him and they should actually start reading. That's all. There is no other way. Start reading. So next step. When King Puranjana was being dragged with great force by the powerful Yavana out of his gross ignorance, he still could not remember his friends and well-wishers, the Super Soul. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Bhoktaram Yagna Tapsam Sarva Loka Maheshwan Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam Tyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. So Suhrid means the ultimate well-wisher. A person can be in full Krishna consciousness, become happy and satisfied if he knows but three things, namely that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the enjoyer of all benefits, he is the proprietor of everything, then he is the supreme friend of all living entities. If one does not know this and function instead under the bodily conception, he is always harassed by the tribulation offered by the material nature. So this is very important. This is the verse which tell that Krishna is our ultimate well-wisher, your ever well-wisher. Krishna and his devotees. Yeah. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddeshi arjuna tishtati. The word Sakya, friend, is very significant in this word because God is eternally present beside the living entity. So two people are there in our body. One is Krishna soul and another one is witness, as from Bhagavad Gita. The Supreme Lord is also described as Suhritam, ever well-wisher. The Supreme Lord is always well-wisher, just like father or mother. Despite all the offenses of a son, the father and mother are always son's well-wisher. Similarly, despite all our offenses and defiance of our desire of Supreme Personality of God, the Lord will give us immediately relief from all the hardships offered by the material nature if we simply surrender unto Him, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. But unfortunately, due to our bad association and great attachment for sense gratification, we do not remember our best friend, the Supreme Personality of God. So this is very important. Bad association. So what do you mean by bad association? Bad association doesn't mean only human. Nowadays we have all the bad association in the form of our smartphone. So we should be very careful to whom we associate. So we somehow that we should associate with Krishna, devotees, scriptures, 24/7 try to do. And in this world, since we are living, so we have to do bare minimum, but mostly we should try. Sure. Thank you. The most unkind thing, Puranjana had killed many animals in various sacrifices. Now, taking advantage of this opportunity, all these animals began to pierce him with their horns. It was as though we were being cut to pieces by axes. Kapat. Those who are very enthusiastic about killing animals in the name of religion or for food must await similar punishment after that. The word mamamsa, meat, indicate that those animals who we kill will be given an opportunity to kill us. Yeah. So there's one very nice laws of nature book in the front page. It's given that I am killing you, you kill me. A very nice diagram. We have not seen this, see that. Yeah. So this is about animal killing and meat eating. Here, Prabhupada explains. Next, text 27. Due to his contaminated association with women, a living entity like King Puranjana eternally suffers all the pangs of material existence and remains in the dark region of material life, bereft of all remembrance for many, many years. Yeah. Yeah, we'll sing this song. Anadi karma phale padi bhavaranda jale tari bare na dekhi upaya he vaishnava hala hale diva nishi hiya jwale mana kabu sukha nahi paya. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur sing very nicely in one bhajan that because of my past fruitive activities, I have now fallen into the ocean of Nazius. I cannot find any means to get out of this great ocean, which is indeed like an ocean of poison. We are trying to be happy through sense enjoyment, but actually, that so called enjoyment is like food that is too hot and cause burning in my heart. I feel a burning sensation constantly day and night, and thus my mind cannot find satisfaction. So, this is the material world nature. Our Acharya very nicely described. And Prabhupada told that first stage of life is brahmacharya, second stage grasta, third stage 1%, fourth stage sannyas. So all these stages are devised to enable one to detach himself from the association of women. So it's very, very difficult to, it's very important that opposite sex should remain in a proper distance and not get attached to each other, because it's very easy to get attached to each other, attracted to each other. So it's very, very important. Next, King Puranjana gave up his body while remembering his wife, and consequently, in the next life, he became a very beautiful and well situated woman. He took his next birth as a daughter of King Vidarbha in the very house of the king. So now we are discussing, we'll go to the next life of King Puranjana, that he will become a daughter, a woman body, and Krishna Prabhupada stated, quoted Bhagavad Gita, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyakta Ante Kalevaram Tam Tam Eveti Konteya Sada Tad Bhav Bhavitaha. So this is a verse in Bhagavad Gita. We say that whatever state of one being remembered when he quits the body, that state he will attain without fail. So even so, it's very important that we should be very, very careful. We should remember only Krishna throughout our life, nothing else. But I know this material world is very, very tough, and it's very tough. But since the process is there, everything is there, at least we should do our best and leave the rest. So here one more good thing for us. Although devotee may fall from the path of spiritual consciousness, he will nonetheless attain the human body in the home of a devotee or a rich man. In this way, one can resume his devotional service. So in this verse, we'll see how King Puranjana, although he born as a daughter or a woman, still Krishna will give him a next chance and to come back. And even in our ISKCON movement, there is one pastime in one devotee who was a brahmachari, and somehow that he got attracted to girl, and next life he was born as a woman. Again, he became a devotee, and he actually remembered his past life also. So Krishna actually gave him one more chance, although in a female body, but he practiced nicely Krishna consciousness. So this is there. Even in an ISKCON movement, we have seen one example like that is there. So translation. It was fixed that Vedarbhi, daughter of King Vidarbha, was to be married to a very powerful man, Malya Dhwaja, an inhabitant of Pandu country. After conquering other princes, he married the daughter of King Vidarbha. So the name of daughter of King Vidarbha is Vedarbhi. Then Puranjana from his past life become Vedarbhi, the daughter of King Vidarbha. And once he grew old, he got married to a powerful king called Malyadhwaja. Okay? So this is the story. Yeah, Prabhupada's right there. The name Malyadhwaja signifies a great devotee who stands as firm as Malya Hill. Although his propaganda makes other devotees similarly as firm. So it's very, very important that it's very, very great fortune for this lady to get married to a very great devotee husband. So anybody who has a spouse as a devotee should be very, very fortunate that he got chance to get married to a devotee person, and together now they can practice Krishna consciousness. In this case of Malay Vidarbhi, she actually served her husband nicely, so nicely, and her husband behaves like a spiritual master who guides. So this is how our Shastra explains that woman should serve her husband nicely, and if husband is very, very nice devotee, then it's actually added advantage for a woman. So it's very important, at least for her husbands to become devotee and women to serve her husband nicely. Then it's a very, very perfect combination. And but nowadays we see that men are hopeless. Only the women who they are doing Krishna conscious activities very nicely. So no matter time has changed, but somehow or other we should be very happy that if our spouse is practicing devotion nicely, we should try to encourage them practice more and more so that we will also get advantage. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Ajita, means that no one can conquer him, but a devotee by strong devotional service and sincere attachment to the Supreme Personality of Godhead can easily conquer him. Lord Krishna is fear personified for everyone, but he voluntarily agreed to bear the stick of Mother Yashoda. Krishna, God cannot be conquered by anyone, but his devotee, such a devotee, kindly married the daughter of King Vedarbha. Vedarbhi. Yeah. Next. King Maledhwaja fathered one daughter who had very black eyes. He also had seven sons who later became rulers of the tract of land known as Dravida. Thus, there were seven kings in that land. So now this is a picture that this Maledhwaja got seven sons, one daughter through his wife, Vedarbi. Yeah. Here Prabhupada write that a devotee has no vision in his life other than Krishna. The seven sons are the seven processes of devotion service: hearing, chanting, remembering, offering worship, offering prayers, rendering transcendental loving service, and serving the lotus feet of the Lord. So actually, these seven processes are the more important. The next last two processes, uh, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vaishnavadhanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanidham. Sakhyam and Atmanidham. So these are very, very high process. So they will come for naturally for very, very senior devotees. So all our acharyas are on the level of Sakhyam and Atmanidham. But these seven were immediately given. The balance, friendship, and surrendering everything were to be developed later. So it will be developed. These are awarded and these are developed. In other words, devotional service is divided into two categories, namely Vidhi Marga and Raga Marga. So this is very important. The seven are called Vidhi Marga and two are called Raga Marga. The process of becoming friend with the Lord and sacrificing everything for him belongs to category of Raga Marga. The stage of developed devotional service for the neophyte. The important process are those of hearing and chanting, Shravan, remembering Krishna, worshipping the deity in the temple, offering prayers, always engaging in the service of Lord and worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So Prabhupada had designed our ISKCON temple schedule in such a way, we just follow at least morning schedule regularly, then most of things are covered automatically. So you don't have to worry separately. So it's very important. Now we are very fortunate of Lilananda Prabhuji has given us one very nice Bhakti Center, Gachibowli. So we should try to come forward and take more and more services there. And in that way, most of our parts of the limbs of devotional service are automatically covered. Yeah. And if we cannot do that, at least we should come regularly and sit and hear. That is the biggest service we can do. If we are not able to do any other service, that's okay. But at least we should be regular and sit and hear what the classes are given there. We should take part. That's all. If we come regularly, means rest everything will be taken care. So next, my dear King Prachin Barish, the sons of Malyadhwaja gave birth to many thousands and thousands of sons And all of these have been protecting the entire world up to the end of the one's Manu lifespan and even afterward. Yeah. So there are 14 Manus and all. This history is given from Bhagavad Gita also. Imam Vivasvata Yoga. Like that. So I'm just going to the next verse because already at 40. I have to finish this. The great sage named Agastya married the firstborn daughter of Maladwaja, the odd devotee of Lord Krishna. From her, one son was born, whose name was Dhrudcharya, Dhrudchyatya. And from him, another son was born, whose name was Idhamava. So now the daughter of that girl and the Maladwaja, she got married to Agastya. That history is given. And it's a long, long Prabhupada. Prabhupada explained everything. Then next. After this, the great saintly king Maladwaja divided his entire kingdom among his sons. Then, in order to worship Lord Krishna with full attention, he went to a solitary place known as Kulachala. So, this is very important for a devotee. Maladwaja, the great king, was certainly Mahabhagavat topmost devotee. By executing devotional service, he begot many sons and disciples for propagating the bhakti cult, Shravanam Kirtanam. Actually, the entire world should be divided among such disciples. Everyone should be engaged in preaching the cult of Krishna consciousness. In other words, when disciples are grown up and are able to preach, the spiritual master should retire and sit down in solitary place to write and execute Nirjana Bhajana. This means sitting silently in a solitary place and executing devotional service. This Nirjana Bhajana, which is silent worship of the Supreme Lord, is not possible for a neophyte devotee. Yeah. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur never advised a neophyte devotee to go to a solitary place to engage in devotional service. Indeed, he has written a song in this connection. Yeah. So it's important. Actually, once the disciples are matured enough, so it's expected that the guru should retire now and he should do his own bhajan. But this is not to be followed by a neophyte devotees like us. Yeah. Dushtamana tumi kishera Vaishnava Pratishtharatare Nirjanagrare Tava Hari Nama Kevala Ketava. Yeah, there's one actually pastime regarding this Nirjan Bhajan. That when Prabhupada was building Krishna Balaram temple in Vrindavan, so there was one of his disciple, American disciple, who was there and he was helping Prabhupada building the temple. So once he came to Prabhupada and told Prabhupada, it's very difficult for me now to manage all these things and all because every day he has to count the cement bags, he has to take care of the construction part. It was very, very difficult. And he told the Prabhupada, I'm getting so disturbed in managing all this construction affair that I'm not able to chant my round properly. Sometimes I'm not able to finish my 16 rounds also properly. So please really give me relief from this service. And then Prabhupada told, okay, what do you want to do? Prabhupada, I just want to sit on the bank of Yamuna in Vrindavan so peacefully and I just want to do my bhajan, japa. And Prabhupada said, no, you have to manage this temple and that is your service. For that, even if you have to sacrifice your own, do it. But first manage this temple. This is very important. But actually, this devotee never listened to Prabhupada. After some days, he left the temple and he went to Yamuna and people saw him sitting on the banks of Yamuna and he was sitting with sadhus and he was doing japa full time. So for a few days, people saw him there. After that, he was not to be seen in Vrindavan anywhere. And then somebody saw him back in America on some beaches, on some boats and all, back to his own cultural life. So actually, neophyte level, we cannot do just Nirjan Bhajan. So it's very important that whatever decisions in Krishna consciousness we take, we should stick to our seniors, we should stick to our gurus' instructions. Even if we think that I am qualified to do certain service, if we are not given instruction to do that service, we should not take it. Till that time, we are given green signal. So it's very important that in Krishna consciousness, we should be always connected. Like if you see the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityanand Prabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has awarded the service of preaching to Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. And Nityanand, in the pastime of Jagai and Madai, Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they will go every day to hold Navdeep and they will go to door to door and they will request everybody chant Hare Krishna, please chant the name of Lord Krishna once, like that. They are doing preaching. But at the end of the day, every single day, they are coming back and reporting to Lord Chaitanya the whole day activities. And for next day, they are again getting the instructions. So this is the very complete loop of Krishna consciousness. Once we get instruction from our Guru, we follow the instructions, we execute, and then we should report back also. Yeah, I'm doing this. This is what is going on. This is so then the loop is complete. If we are not reporting back, we are thinking that okay, we are doing this thing. That is a problem. Then we'll be like Sahajiya and independentism. So it's very important that we should report back. We should be regularly in touch with our authorities, and that's how the loop is complete, and that's how the Krishna consciousness become very, very blissful. So any devotee you see in this world who are advanced devotees, they're actually reporting back. If we see Radheshyam Prabhu, we are being told to fill the sadhana card. Even Radheshyam Prabhu is filling his sadhana cards. So, but who are we? We are nobody. So that is a very important thing we should learn from great Vaishnavas, that it's very important to report. So every devotee is they are reporting back. And that's how Prabhupada make this GVC system where GVC members they are actually reporting to each other. So nobody is independent. In Krishna consciousness, nobody is independent. Everybody is dependent on each other. We are dependent on mercy of Vaishnava. This is a mercy process, not an independent process. Just as moonshine follows the moon at night, immediately after King Maladhwaja departed from Kulachana, that his devoted wife, whose eyes were very enchanting, followed him, giving up all homely happiness despite family and children. So this wife, once she got married to a Maladhwaj, they both retire now. The Maladhwaj retired and wanted to go to jungle to do bhajan, and his wife just simply followed him. Finish. So this is a very nice Krishna consciousness process where husband and wife together they go to Vanprastha, and without having any relation now with anybody in the world, they both are practicing Krishna consciousness. The husband is practicing Krishna consciousness, wife is sincerely serving her husband. And it's very, very nice. If you read now, I'm not in detail, thank you the service, but it's very, very nice. Yeah, I'll tell you. Next. In the province of Kulachala, there were rivers named Chandravarsha, Tamparani, and Batokta. King Maladhwaja used to go to those pious rivers regularly and take his bath there. Thus, he purified himself externally and internally. He took his bath and ate bulbs, seeds, leaves, flowers, roots, fruits, and grasses, and drank water. In this way, he underwent severe austerities. Eventually, he became very skinny. So, this is the austerity which both of them do in their bhakti as a vanprasti. Next, though through austerity, King Maladhwaja in body and mind gradually became equal to the dualities of cold and heat, happiness and distress, wind and rain, hunger and thirst, the pleasant and the unpleasant. In this way, he conquered all relatives. Yeah. So they both were practicing very, very great austerities, and like that, they're advancing in Krishna consciousness. Next is by worshipping, executing austerities, and following the regulative principles, King Maladhoja conquered his senses, his life, and his consciousness. Thus, he fixed everything on the central point of the Supreme Brahman, Krishna. So, he became very, very high level devotee on the very, very great level, and later he left his body. In this way, he stayed immovable in one place for 100 years by the calculation of the demigods. After this time, he developed pure devotional attraction for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, and remained fixed in that position. So this is that 100 celestial years is the time when he do devotional service, standing in one place. Next is King Maladhaja attained perfect knowledge by being able to distinguish the supreme from the individual soul. The individual soul is localized where the super soul is all pervasive. He became perfect in knowledge that the material body is not the soul, but that the soul is the witness of the material body. So then he becomes self-realized. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave. So the realization will come from the heart. This is the process from the Bhagavatam. In this way, King Maladhaja attained perfect knowledge because in his pure state, he was directly instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By means of such enlightening transcendental knowledge, he could understand everything from all angles of vision. King Maladhavaja could thus observe that the super soul was sitting by his side and that he, as the individual soul was sitting by the side of the super soul. Since both were together, there was no need for separate interests. Thus, he ceased from such activities. Hare Krishna Mataji, because this chapter is long, shall I continue now or we'll take a break after 5 minutes? Then we'll stop it and we'll continue next week. So I see 8:49 here. Time.
How many more are there, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's actually long, Prabhu, because now the King Maladhaj will leave his body, then Krishna will come and instruct his wife, and they're actually very deep. We have to read properly, then it will take some time.
Okay,
These are
Prabhuji.
60 plus, I think, 65 or something. We are in
I don't want to go fast also because we are not doing justice then.
yeah.
So maybe we can just take 2 or 3 more.
So we'll take the
We'll
next
continue.
class.
We'll continue next week, right, Mataji?
Yeah, no problem, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll take till Maladhoja left his body from next.
Okay.
After that, we will continue next week.
All right. Yeah.
King Maladhvaja could thus observe that the super soul was sitting by his side, and thus he, as the individual soul, was sitting by the side of super soul. Since both were together, there was no need for separate interests. Thus, he ceased from such activities. Yeah. So this is actually from Bhagavad Gita. Then soul and super soul both are inside the body. One is doing all the activities, and another is just a witness. And King Maladhvaja, out of his devotion to such an actual level, he could actually visualize that through his own eyes. Yeah. The daughter of King Vidarbha accepted her husband all in all as the supreme. She gave up all sensual enjoyment and in complete renunciation followed the principles of her husband, who was so advanced that she remained engaged in his service. So it's explained that even the daughter, she never combed even her hairs, so that the king should not get attracted to her, because now he was in great tapasya. So she don't want to become any disturbance for her husband. That is one thing. It's explained. So she was totally devoted to her husband and asked her, if a woman is fortunate enough to be a wife of a pure devotee, she can serve her husband without any desire for sense gratification. If she remain engaged in the service of her exalted husband, she will automatically attain the spiritual perfection of her husband. If a disciple gets a bona fide spiritual master simply by satisfying him, he can attain the similar opportunity to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. X44. The daughter of King Vidarbha wore old garments. She was not lean and she was lean and thin because of her vows of austerity. Since she did not arrange her hair, it became entangled and twisted in locks. Although she remained always near her husband, she was as silent and unagitated as the flame of an undisturbed fire. So just imagine, for 1000 years of demigods, they were sitting together but not even talking to each other. They both were engaged. The husband was engaged fully in Krishna conscious activity, and wife is there to serve his husband. So this is very, very great example from our scriptures. Prabhupada very nicely explains. Actually, whole Vanprastha ashram is explained in this verse. Old talk, the wife especially should remain austere, not design luxurious dresses and living standards. But this is Vanprastha, not Progressa. We should not confuse. Only for the bare necessities of life and minimize her eating and sleeping. There should be no question of mating. Simply by engaging in service of her exalted husband, who must be a pure devotee, the wife will never be agitated by sex impulses. The Vanprastha stage is exactly like this. Although the wife remains with the husband, she undergoes severe austerities and penances, so that although both husband and wife living together. So anybody of us, actually all of us, should read this purport in depth, and we should prepare ourselves for Vanprastha. Those who all are Grastas, most of us are Grastas in this group. So we should read this purport very nicely, text 44, and prepare ourselves for Vanprastha. And that is the actually need of the hour, because Vanprastha things are actually missing from our society right now. The daughter of King Vidarbha continued as usual to serve her husband, who was seated in a steady posture until she could ascertain that he had passed away from the body. So now later she could understand that because she was massaging the feet of her husband, and once she was massaging, she could see that there is no heat in the feet. The feet is cold. So she understands that my husband already left her body and his body become cold. It appears that Queen did not even talk to her husband while serving. She would simply perform her prescribed duties without talk. Thus, she did not stop rendering service until she could ascertain that her husband has passed from the body. While she was serving her husband by massaging his legs, she could feel that his feet were no longer warm and could thus understand that he had already passed from the body. She felt great anxiety upon being left alone. Bereft of her husband's company, she felt exactly as the deer feels upon being separated from his mate. Yeah, so this is the way. The stoppage of blood circulation is perceived when the hands and feet lose heat. Being now alone and a widow in that forest, the daughter of Vidarbha began to lament incessantly, shedding tears, which soaked her breast and crying very loudly. This is how she became widow and she started crying. And Prabhupada explained that in this case now her husband is acting like we can take him like a guru, and the wife we should take like a disciple. So Prabhupada explained that when a spiritual master leaves, the disciple should cry. And once Prabhupada received the news of his spiritual master Bhaktisiddhanta had left his body, he actually cried. Right? So it's very important. Currently, the queen is supposed to be the disciple of king. Thus, when a mortal body or spiritual master expires, his disciple should cry exactly as the queen cries when the king leaves his body. However, the disciple and spiritual master are never separated because the spiritual master always keep company with the disciple as long as the disciple follows strictly the instruction of the spiritual master. This is called association of Vani. Physical presence is called Vapu. As long as the spiritual master is physically present, the disciple should serve the physical body of the spiritual master, and when the spiritual master is no longer physically existing, the disciple should serve the instructions of the spiritual master. So this is the instruction that all disciples should serve the instruction. Vani and Vapu Seva. O best of the king, please get up, get up. Just see this bird, surrounded by water and infested with rogues and so-called kings. This bird is very much afraid, and it is your duty to protect her. So the wife is lamenting for her husband departed. Next. That most obedient wife thus fell down at the feet of her dead husband and began to cry pitifully in that solitary forest. Thus the tear rolled down from her eyes. Yeah. Next is, she then prepared a blazing fire with firewood and placed the dead body of her husband upon it. When this was finished, she lamented severely and prepared herself to perish in the fire with her husband. So this is called Sati Pratha, but actually this is voluntarily, not inward. So if wife thinks that she will not be able to practice alone Krishna consciousness, then she can accept Sati Pratha even if she desired. Similarly, Prabhupada explained that if a disciple thinks that after his spiritual master gone, he is not able to follow the instruction of spiritual master properly. Actually, the disciple should also burn himself with the spiritual master. So this is the thing. And here the example of Pandavas were there, that the Madhuri got Sati because she told her co-wife Kunti Devi that I will not be able to manage 5 children. I will not be able to give them equal love, equal care. So that's why I will go as a Sati and you just remain here. You take care of the children. So actually, becoming a Sati is very difficult. But if you see the example of Kunti and Madhuri from Mahabharata, then actually Kunti did a more severe austerity to take care of 5 children and make them alone grow and become such a great Pandavas, and that took alone. So from next words we'll see the entry of one new personality. My dear king, one Brahmana who was an old friend of King Puranjana came to that place and began to pacify Queen with the sweet word. So this Brahmana story will continue from next week onwards. Mataji will take a note of this text number 51. So till 50 will finish. So now it's actually 9 o'clock. So I'll request anybody to just will stop here. We'll meet next week maybe. And if anybody has any questions, comments, please we'll open the session for that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam.
No, Pranam. Prabhuji, sorry, I got deviated. So we are talking about Puranjana all the time, like saying considering as a body, but suddenly the story changed from Puranjana is taking birth again, one more life.
Yes.
So why? I mean, until Puranjana is taken away, we know, right? It's all where they know. It's more of a, it's more of a tattva relating to body. But why it got changed to taking another life, and that suddenly it became a different concept of soul level.
Yeah, actually, because but I understand, Prabhu. The story was about a body. Purajana was an imaginary character, but this
Yeah.
body has now accepted another body, and now the entry of Krishna will be there. Next is now that friend. Now that friend is Krishna, who will come and take the soul to his own accord. So this soul till he go to Krishna, that story is still there. So in this story, the body is there. The body dies and accepted another. The soul accept another body, and then the soul will be accepted by Krishna. So all that stories are covered here. Yeah.
So that means Puranjana is a body, or should be considered as a soul level? I mean, how do we?
Krishna is actually you and me. We all.
Okay.
That's what
Oh,
I understand, bro. It's actually a little difficult for me to understand, but still, what I understand is Krishna
yeah.
is
I
actually
mean,
talking about us, all of us.
yeah. So far, I mean, it was clear that okay, Puranjana is body, 9 holes, the 9 dwaras, all those things, senses. Wife is the all this. I mean, getting, but suddenly, the topic was changed to okay, he has taken another body. So that really,
So
Prabhuji,
it's
what I
about
understand,
yeah.
is, yeah, it is a body, but then
mm,
because it was attached to wife and children,
yeah,
um, so it is suffering. So if the body is suffering, then what are the consequences? And
mm,
because of the attachment of wife, he will have to take birth again in a female body. So how this entire cycle of birth and death happens because of our own attachments and things, that is where it is. So
mm.
next birth is of a woman, right?
Uh-huh,
And
uh-huh.
then in that woman body again, what kind of sufferings will happen? So it is trying to describe like what is the how the cycle happens, and when is
Mm.
the point that it will get into liberation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it is
Life
related to
cycle of a
us,
body.
and I mean
So
everyone.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Lovish Prabhu and Prasad Prabhu, Akinjan Prabhu, yeah, please
Thank you, everybody.
add
Thank you,
your
Prasad
thoughts.
Prabhu, Akinjan Prabhu, Prasad Prabhu, Lakshmi Mataji, Shilpa Mataji. Thank you very much. You actually tolerating so much my wonderful thing you are doing. Praveen Prabhu, very good. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for all your time.
Dhanwad Pranam. Very good.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Lovish Prabhu ki jai.
Very good.
Krishna.
Prabhupada ki jai.
I'll end the session here, Prabhuji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Yes.
Thank you. It's wonderful session. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.